If you cannot draw people in perspective to save your life, this is the video for you. Here are 3 tips to draw people in perspective. Tip number 1 is to overlap shapes. If we grab 3 shapes, one representing the head, another one the chest, and another one the pelvis, and we stack them one on top of one another, you're gonna see how this creates the illusion of depth. If we were to use these shapes as guides for a drawing, we would end up with something like this. But what would happen if we grab those same shapes and we bring them even closer and we overlap them more? We increase the sense of depth and we make our characters look like they are even more in perspective, simply by changing how much the shapes overlap. Tip number 2 is mind the ground. And this one happens to me all the time. A figure like this can look fine, but if we just take a second to just follow the perspective of these body parts, we're gonna see that everything is okay right here. And the moment that we get to the knees and even to the feet, things start to get wrong. To solve this thing, it is super easy. Simply take the time to create a small grid that follows the perspective of the character all the way to the ground, and then make a tiny bit of a grid for the ground. Doing this takes just a few moments, and doing it can make the difference of your characters just looking like they are floating in the air or actually standing on the ground. And tip number 3 is to use the body landmarks. There are a few key things that are very convenient for artists to remember about the human body. One is that the ideal body is made out of 8 heads. But what I find even more useful is to remember these 3 points right here. At the halfway point of your figure, you're going to have the crotch and the wrists. Up here, if you divide it in 1/4, you're going to find the nipples. And right down here, again in 1/4, you're going to find the bottom of the knees. That means that if we make a grid like this one, we're going to very easily find where the crotch, the nipples, and the knees are in this grid. After that, it is really easy to do. You start by finding the key pieces, the head, the torso, and the pelvis, and then you build your figure like it would be made out of Legos. And with all the construction done, all you have to do is finish it. With these tips, you're gonna be able to build the human figure in whatever perspective you want. And hey, if you enjoy tips like this and you would like to support me, the best way to do it is by getting my brushes. And you can get all of them, including the ones that I use right here for Procreate, Clip Studio Paint, and Photoshop down there in my links.